Alright, let's say what type of graph this equation would be. Now you focus in on the negative 8 and the negative 8, the x squared and the y squared. Since those are the exact same value, number, everything, what we know is this is a circle. Now if one was positive, one was negative, it'd be a hyperbola. If these were different numbers, it'll probably be an ellipse depending on the sign. If one was positive, negative, it'd be a hyperbola. But if they're the same sign, but like say was negative 8 and the negative 7, it would be an ellipse. Anyways, that one is particular is a circle. Now, if we want the equation of this graph, the first step is to know what type of graph it is, and what you have to notice that it is a hyperbola. And a hyperbola has a minus between, and it equals 1. Now, a hyperbola opens up and down, so what that means is it's going to be y there and x there. So it's y first, then x, because it opens up and down. The next step is we have to find the center. The center of that hyperbola looks like it's over 5 and up 3. So the center is 5, 3. So what that means is this is your h, this is your k, also known xy. So anyways, your 5 is going to go with the x, so the opposite of 5 is negative 5. And 3 goes with the y, so the opposite of 3 is negative 3. The next step is how far down did you go to make this box? Well, it looks like it went down 2. So 2 squared is 4 under the y value. And then how far did you have to go to the side? Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 4 over. 4 squared is 16. So on the x you went 4 over, on the y you went 2. Those go under the x and the y. And there's your center. And it's a hyperbola, so you got to kind of know what type it is, and you got to know where to put your values. But hopefully that's straightforward. This last one's a little bit more difficult. I want to put it into standard form and then find the vertices of the conic. Now, the first thing is standard form. So to make it in standard form, the first step is you need to combine the x's and combine the y's. And move the 71 over. That's our step. Now we're going to do some completing the square. Now before we do that, what we have to do actually is we have to pull a GCF. We cannot have a coefficient here or here. So we're going to pull a 9 out of here, leaving you with x squared plus 2x plus blank. Here we have to pull a 16 out, which is kind of big. And 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, the question now is, what goes here? Again, we had to pull out the coefficients, or the GCFs I should probably say. Anyways, when you pull the 9 out of both those, anyways, half that, and this is called completing the square. We have to find this value by completing the square. So we take the 2, you half it, and then you square it, which would give me 1. Now here's the trick. I'm not just going to add 1 here, but it's actually 9 times 1. Okay, just watch out for that. This one, take the negative 4, divide it by 2, and square it. That would give me negative 2 squared would be 4. But it's not just 4, it's 16 times 4. So this is going to be 16 times 4. Because you're actually adding more than just 4, you're adding 16 times that, so you have to add the same thing over here. Now, if I were to factor this, some of you need to factor it, put a 1 on top, 2 on bottom, realize it's 1 and 1. You're left with a 9, but what you'd be left with is x plus 1 squared, because this is x plus 1, x plus 1. And for this one, 4 on top, negative 4 on bottom, that'd be negative 2, negative 2. So this would be, leave the 16, x minus 2 squared, because it's x minus 2, x minus 2 when you factor that. So again, factor this, you get x minus 2, x minus 2. Factor that, x plus 1, x plus 1. And that equals, well, this would be 71 plus 9 plus 64. When we combine all this, what do we get? Well, this would be 80. 80 plus 64 looks like this would be 144. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to divide this by 144, divide this by 144, and divide this by 144. Let's double check that. That would be 80. Yeah, it'd be 144. So when you do that, what you're left with, 9 goes into 144. Let's think about it. Well, 9, this is 12 times 12. So 9 goes into 144. Let's see. That's a little bit tough. And 16, how much is 16? Well, let's think about this. 9, 3, 12. I think this is 16. I think this is x plus 1 squared. I think this is 16. I'll have to double check that. And 16 times what gives you 144? Well, let's see, 4, I think that would be 9. We'll have to check that as well. And when you divide 144 by 144, you get 1. Now let's double check to make sure that's right. Because what's 9 times 16? 9 times 16, that's 54, yep, 144. And let's check 9 times, yeah. So 9 times, yeah, that looks right. So anyways, from here, that is my part of the question it's asking for. There it is, standard form. The next part of the question says, what are the vertices? So the center is -1, 2. The vertices, well, since this is a plus between, what you'll notice is you look at the largest denominator. So a is equal to plus or minus the square root of 16, which is plus or minus 4. And the letter it came from is x, so we're going to add 4 to the x value. So my answer would be -1 plus 4, comma 2, and -1 minus 4, comma 2. Again, we're adding 4 to this and subtracting from that because the 4 came from the x. So that looks like it'd be 3, comma 2 is one vertice, and the other one looks like it'd be -5, comma 2. Those would be your vertices. Again, because that's the bigger value. If it's co-vertices, you'd be adding and subtracting 3 from one of the variables. Now, I made a mistake right here. Let's go back and change that. That is a y, which means that would also be a y, which still is okay, because all of a sudden I was like, they're both x's. Yeah, the x is still 16, the y is the 9. So anyways, I made that little mistake, sorry. Hopefully that makes sense.